We're going to listen very intently to conservative leaders. This is the bill, but if there are ways to improve that bill and to give people greater confidence that we're all going to arrive at the same place where Obamacare is done and we've replaced it with the kind of health care reforms that will lower the cost of health insurance by expanding people's choices and giving states more flexibility, and that's where we're headed.
The legislative process, people are saying, well, I'd love to have this in there, I'd love to have that in there. That's the legislative process. That's what we're going through. And what people are sort of learning is this reconciliation tool is pretty tight. There's a lot of stuff we would love to put in the bill, but unfortunately the Senate rules don't allow us to do that.
And that is why they're saying that they have 3 phases for this, and this is the first phase, this legislation that's on the Hill being debated now. The president tweeting today, despite what you hear in the press, health care is coming along great. We are talking to many groups, and it will end in a beautiful picture. Tonight, that beautiful picture is at the White House bowling alley with conservatives bowling for health care. But Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas, one of those conservatives, said on Twitter, House health care bill can't pass Senate without major changes. To my friends in the House, pause, start over, get it right, don't get it fast. With that, let's bring in our panel. Fox News senior judicial analyst Judge Andrew Napolitano, editor-in-chief of LifeZette Laura Ingram, Charles Lane, opinion writer for The Washington Post, and syndicated columnist Charles Krauthammer. Okay, Laura, your thoughts of how Pence phrases it and where this stands tonight?
I think there's a desire to demonstrate unity, and the leadership and, of course, Vice President Pence and President Trump, they want to tell the country that we're at this, we're working on it together. But I'm not sure they're going to be able to clear the hurdles that exist with this legislation. I understand what Paul Ryan is saying about the Byrd rule and so forth. Louis Gohmert and Jim Jordan and others are saying, look, we're in the majority. We have the power to change this Byrd rule. Why are we allowing this rule?
Let me just explain. This is Robert Byrd, deceased senator from West Virginia, who had a rule that a reconciliation bill that requires 51 votes can only include economic issues. It cannot include anything that doesn't deal with the economy, doesn't deal with taxes and money, and thereby crossing state lines and tort reform cannot be in a reconciliation bill.
So their point is this rule is an administrative rule, legislative rule that can be changed by the parties. So that's one point. The other point that they make, and I have some sympathy for this is the chance to get this right and really do it right. Tom Cotton says, you know, why the rush? I mean, you kind of get the sense for him it's a bum's rush to push this thing through as fast as they are. And I think the longer this goes on, the harder it's going to be for them to pass it. From Talk Radio Land and other conservative groups that are fiscally conservative and want to have a good example for the rest of the country, really bring costs down of health care, this doesn't do it for them.
All right, Judge, the answer to that from the administration point of view we've heard is you got to get this out first before you can do tax reform or anything else.
Right.
Number one. Number two, it's better than Obamacare.
Right.
And like Reagan, take the 80% loaf.
Right. I understand those arguments. And the president himself made another one either last night or today saying if we don't do this, the 2018 congressional elections are going to be a bloodbath, meaning the Democrats are going to gain seats in the House. I'm entirely with Laura. I'm entirely with the small government folks. I don't see the reason to rush. The essence of Obamacare is the federal micromanagement of the health care system, and that essence remains in this legislation. And the time to get rid of it is right now, because they're never going to have greater numbers in the House and the Senate in the next 4 years than they do at this moment.
Chuck.
Whatever rules they have to change to permit them to do this, they should do so.
Chuck.
They don't have the votes. Let's just be clear here.
With this current, as it stands today, this legislation.
And not only that, they don't have the votes to do the extra stuff, like the across state lines. At least they don't clearly have those votes. As Paul Ryan explained, that would be the third prong. That would be this additional stuff, he said. And I don't know who the Democrats are in the Senate who are going to
Well, there's 11 of them, as I pointed out yesterday, in states that 80% of the counties went to Donald Trump.
Yes,
that are up for re-election in 2018.
And I'm not sure how many of them will vote to put their state insurance commissioner out of business by allowing people. But anyway, that's a separate point. That's point one. Point two is the Republicans are now in the business of taking something away. When was the last time the federal government abolished any program, let alone a program this big? it's hugely risky politically. And I think that's the bottom line reason people like Tom Cotton and others are hesitating. Yes, they promised to do it. But the first, the Democrats are just, waiting for the first person to lose his Medicaid, blame it on Paul Ryan, and I think that's what they legitimately are afraid of.
But when you come to politics, aren't we always one election away from dealing with the big thing anyway?
But the problem is that the big thing here is an entitlement that nobody, Republican or Democrat, will take away. The one thing that everybody agreed, conservatives, Republicans, in this election and all the elections, is we are not going to change the innovation that you cannot lose your insurance or be priced out of the market if you have a pre-existing condition. Is anybody going to vote to take that away? No. That's the essence of Obamacare. That's what was introduced. And the reason that you have this, even in the Ryan plan, why you have this intrusion into the market and the federal government dictating, is because in order to keep that provision, you have to create an entitlement. It can be, as in Obamacare, a subsidy. It can be the refundable tax credit. But if you want people to have that, and you name me one Republican who wants to abolish it, then the essence of Obamacare is retained, and you have to face that fact.
Well, that was the point of my question about the mechanics rather than the philosophy about it. But let me go down the road real quick. So do they pass a bill, whether it evolves or not, this time?
Out of the House, yes.
And not the Senate?
I don't know.
I'm saying Congress, but...
Yeah.
Yes, the House does succeed in passing this hot potato to the Senate.
No.
No, not this one that we've been talking about.
All right, Judge, WikiLeaks. Let's listen to Julian Assange and the Vice President.
WikiLeaks has a lot more information on what has been going on with the cyber weapons program. Hearing these calls from some of the manufacturers, we have decided to work with them to give them some exclusive access.
Will the Trump administration pursue charges against the WikiLeaks founder?
Trafficking in national security information, as is alleged WikiLeaks has done here, is a very serious offense. This president and this administration will take that very seriously and use the full force of the law and the resources of the United States to hold all of those to account that were involved.
All right, so the FBI is in search of a hunt, mole hunt tonight, a leaker. Meantime, the CIA is adamant that they're not surveilling U.S. citizens, and the Vice President echoed that statement as well.
I don't think anybody in the Intelligence Committee takes seriously those denials. I think the documents that they released, however they got them, show conclusively and unambiguously that the CIA has been plying its tradecraft on Americans in the United States, even intimately in our homes. We're one step away from totalitarianism when I'm in front of the microwave in my kitchen and they can hear what I'm talking about, and when they can use my cell phone as a recording device, whether it's in my pocket or on the front seat of my car. And I am happy that we know about this, because when a violation of constitutional liberties of this magnitude is going on in an organized way by the government, no matter what party controls it, the American people need to know.
You don't buy the denials at all, that,
no.
that it's not happening, that there's a firm red line between...
I don't buy the denials because my friends, our friends in the intelligence community don't buy the denials.
All right, Laura?
The competency of this government to guard its secrets is beyond devastated by the WikiLeaks revelations. We now know, according to the reporting today, that somewhere between 200 and 1,000 individuals had access to the knowledge of these hacking tools. They have to now go through the 200 to 1,000, including a lot of contractors. A lot of them have offices near Dulles Airport. They have a lot of interviews to do. Whether they're going to find who leaked this, we don't know. But it looks like it could be a contractor.
Should WikiLeaks be liable? Should WikiLeaks come under some kind of legal...
Yeah, of course they should. But I agree with what Judge Napolitano is saying. I don't think anyone can trust the intelligence agency, given what we know now about the incompetency of even guarding their own secrets. They're not able to guard their own secrets.
Quickly.
And they're the spy agency?
Number one, I've never trusted my microwave. So it's a good principle to stick to. The other thing is we have never discussed Ecuadorian elections here before, but we should, because there's an upcoming election Remember, Assange is in the Ecuadorian embassy. He's got asylum in London. And the opposition candidate who's in a runoff, which is going to happen soon, has to pledge that he's going to kick him out of the embassy, in which case he could be snatched. He could be brought here and tried. So let's hope that we're interfering in the Ecuadorian election.